This is our year, right, fellas?
Yeah, that's cool. Let me get a French vanilla.
You got it, Jalen.
Can I get a chocolate deluxe?
Mikhail, welcome to New York, buddy.
Man, I play for
Yeah, that's cute. We know. We know. And you, Mr. Hart?
Yeah, let me get the sundae, the honey twirl, tiger style.
You serious right now?
Wu Tang style.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Knickerbocker Banter. I'm your host, Harris Wishard. And today with me, we have a very special guest, Stevie Guttman, who was just on the very awesome, amazing commercial, Wu Tang Clan ad with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges. What's up, my brother?
How are we doing? I don't know how special I am, but hopefully I can be entertaining. We have some fun.
Absolutely, man. And obviously, before that ad, obviously, it was a lot of recognition, but you've been at this for a while. I've just been looking on your page. The one thing that struck, me before anything else of the accomplishments has been your attitude and your message. Because I talk about that a lot with people, and I've been blown away with the positivity. I love that stuff, man. So kudos to you for having that daily message before we even get into anything else.
Thank you. I have just a life process I go through, and I realize, and I post it a lot because it's the way I live my life. Is that I say good morning, good afternoon to the world. I say today's about to be an amazing day, no matter what. And the key to that whole process, or the way I look at it, is the easy part stays going to be an amazing day. The no matter what is the hard part, because if you stub your toe, it's still no matter what. If the train is late, it's still no matter what. If your spouse pisses you off, it's still no matter what. If you get screwed over, it's still no matter. So it's a choice on how you want to view each day of your life and what attitude you want to take towards it. And I can say my journey and some of the successes I've had have been directly correlated to that, and people liking what, not only working with me, but the way I approach just interpersonal relationships. And hopefully I have a little bit of talent in the mix too, but who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I know there is a lot more to you than this one ad that's gotten Knicks Nation attention, right? That has gotten, obviously cool with Nike and the new players that have kind of changed it, have changed this organization around, right? Let's cut right to the chase. But, how did this come about, and what kind of experience did you have with, Bridges, Hart, and Brunson and or with you?
Of course. Well, the first thing to touch on, even before it came about, the most impressive thing about the whole experience, I'm sitting across three young men who are some of the greatest athletes in the world, obviously extremely wealthy, famous, accolade after accolade, and, doing this at the highest level for most of their lives. And to see how kind, professional, humble, cool, approachable. I couldn't use enough adjectives, wonderful adjectives to describe them. It was so awe-inspiring because I think about even myself as a young man. I don't know if I would have been being thrust in that situation. I don't think most people, and I don't think we give enough credit to the athletes that we know, all of us, because we're fans, it's short for fanatic, we go nuts, but all of us don't realize what a special situation from such a young age these players are thrust into. And it really, my learning lesson, when I leave each experience, I try to leave with something that I learned. And my real learning lesson, which I used to think about this more, and I'm going to take it into account, is when a young man makes a mistake at such a, in that environment, I'm less likely to be hard on them as a fan, because they're a young man. Imagine we're lucky enough, all these guys are in their prime, and I think it's a great strategy. If you look at the age of the team, everyone is basically in prime age. It's 27 to 31, if I had to guess. Everyone's like 28, 20. It's perfect.
Right.
But, we're putting all this pressure on 18, 19, 20-year-old kids and expect them to behave all the time like professionals. And I think that's I don't think those expectations are realistic. So I think as a message to everyone, let's take it easy on our athletes a little bit, that. And then the second part, yeah, like I said, this team, it gives you a team. It's the first time in a long time I think we have a team to really root for as a team. It's such a breath of fresh air. There's no drama. There's no nonsense. Even the papers can't come up with headlines to create drama and nonsense, because there isn't. These kids are so special and amazing, and really just at the core of it represent this brand and team in such a great way. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you tell me if this translates to the acting world too, because I I stick to sports, but I think some things translate. Josh Hart the other night made a mistake, right? And he owns up to that. He's accountable to that. That's why I always trust this group when everyone's panicking. Oh my God, they lost this game. They lost that game. Accountability is an environment for winning. And,
So true.
and when he did that, and when Brunson has continued to do that, and Tibbs has continued to do that, there's really no finger pointing. And is that something that you've seen throughout the course of your life, or just makes you feel the same way about this group?
Well, that also is, and I have to give credit. And this is where another thing I said, you know what? I'm done giving my opinion, which is definitely not expert on anything about basketball. When guys got it. If you look at what the front office has done, you look at the draft picks they've made, you look at the moves they've made. Anytime I question or I thought differently, they've proved me wrong. So my new thing is I shut up and I just let them do their thing. But it is an amazing culture created by front office, created by Tibbs, who supposedly was not a great culture coach for many years, what we heard, and it was always supposedly some drama centered around it. They've and built the right team. And if you look at no finger pointing and accountability. Think about what a crazy situation when Dante and Brunson's father got into it, and look at Brunson's response to it. He wasn't even mad at his best friend. He wasn't mad at his dad. He's talking about the moment, and he's looking with the attitude of there's no benefit to finger pointing. And yes, and I to tie it to my life. I'd say on the journey, the best thing I do, I think as you grow and realize, I always talk about the universe, it presents you with things and it's yours to take. And any time in my life that I've gone is because of this or this or this or something like it's never been beneficial.
Yeah.
It's when I've just accepted and went with the flow, not to get all zen, and I'm not that spiritual,
Yeah.
but I think that when you accept what's in front of you and you realize everything's okay and you go on your journey and you do it as a cohesive unit with others, because filmmaking, you must work as a cohesive unit with that people on set, you always get the best results and experience.
Absolutely. And to your point yesterday, I know people have also gotten on, which I also think is silly, with criticizing the Roommates podcast. These guys, whatever they want to do on their free time, I trust them. To me, that's silly. But Brunson's dad went on the show and quickly said, hey, that was on me. I got to be a little bit better in that situation. And that, I think, is the culture right now. And that's why I have full confidence. And I tell people, pump the brakes a little bit. If it's February and we're 500, you come talk to me. But for right now, this is not anything to get crazy over.
Absolutely not. I mean, it is going to take time for a team to gel anyway. I mean, Cat is not a small piece that you put in and you're just like, oh, this is a role player that you put in the corner over here. You have a major piece, and you think about what an important piece Julius was for so many years. So you're removing his skill set with another skill set, and it's going to take time. Everyone, it's like any other relationship in life. You learn the minutia of how everything should flow. So there's no worries. I at the very least, they're going to Eastern Conference Finals this year, if not the finals. So it's really it's on the trajectory it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and you talked about something when I listened to your Knicks Fan TV interview that I thought was awesome. And you talked about John Starks and that group and what made us fall in love with that group. Now, I got the tail end. That was when I really first started enjoying basketball, late 90s. But we loved the grit, and it almost felt like every game they would be willing to die for. I know someone came on the show and talked about how Starks' story and his background, you just felt like you were going down watching such a blue-collar dude. And that's a blue-collar team. So you feel like you're getting that back now. And anybody who's watched this team for that long has that same type of enthusiasm and that same type of thing that's coming back with this group.
You have to understand, John Starks is my idol. He's my favorite, not only my favorite basketball player of all time. I mean, I remember being a kid, just screaming, stop my lungs in MSG. I mean, he was bagging groceries in Oklahoma City. And he went from that to being the Crown Prince of New York. I mean, it's just the strength you have to have as a human to fight on that journey. I mean, and I'm not taking away from anyone who has a 9 to 5 or gets up in the morning, because that's a grind, and you have to have a certain level of dedication and strength to do that as well. But to be able to go from that and have the self-confidence, belief, and just determination to go from that to that is unbelievable. I don't know if I could be strong enough to do something like that. 99.9% of the world couldn't. So to me, his story is just so touching and so amazing that it's what made me fall in love with the team at the time. And then all the other stuff, like you're saying, people used to hate to come see us. They hate to play us. And for so many years, we weren't that team. And now we're back and we are that team again. So I'm happy they all hate that they look at the calendar like, oh, shit. Oh,
You could say, man.
the people are like, oh, shit, the Knicks are on the calendar. We got a real game on our hands, So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially the Garden, because what brought a smile to my face a couple years ago, getting back in that environment when they blew out the Cavs in the first round and hearing some of the players, they spoke about it. You heard Mitchell say it. Jared Allen said it. Man, we didn't expect it to be like that. And it got even, and this is no knock on those mellow teams and what they did, and I've been on the record saying this does have that next level energy, and people are getting behind this group. And when with Josh Hart, to speak about someone was in the commercial with you, with that ovation he got at the end of Game 7 last year, to me, that's the real Madison Square Garden. And that's he has that Starks effect on people now. And Chris Childs came on here and said, he reminds me of a 6'4" Dennis Rodman, the effort. That's the kind of stuff that gets the New Yorker really fired up. And I'm pumped up talking. I want another game as soon as possible because it's just that basketball runs through the city like that. And I know it's for a fan like yourself that's been a part of a lot of losing, like me. We really don't take that for granted.
Actually, it took me a minute to understand, wait, this is what it feels like to be winning all the time and do it in a way that you're really proud. How many teams you see out there and the superstar speaks after the game and he's angry with the media, or he's kind of standoffish, and again, I sort of understand it. The more and more I looked at it, I want to practice what I preach. I'm not putting anyone down. They're thrust in this crazy situation that everything they do is being picked at, and stories are being created to sell more papers and things like this. But to look at our guys and to see the way they handle all of it, it's so unbelievable and awe-inspiring. It just makes me feel great. It makes me feel proud that this is the team I get to root for. We're the lucky ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And to point out probably the funniest part of the commercial with Mikal, obviously he was with the Nets, and then you mentioned about being in New York, really, but he's obviously faced some criticism, which to me is not surprising, right? You talk about the New York media, people having lack of patience, but dealing the 5 picks, whatever. I have a lot of confidence in him to get going. I think he's cut from that same cloth, but you expect that as well, I'm sure, with a guy that's done nothing but win his whole life.
By the way, anyone who wants to start questioning the 5 picks, what would you rather have? Perimeter going up every night with a perimeter defense of OG and Mikal, or 5 low first rounders? Because they're not going to be lottery picks. We know that. Even without Mikal, there's still a playoff bound team at a very, very high level. So they're going to be low picks, and the likelihood of those picks turning into, listen, Deuce McBrides don't happen every day. Go look at the history of the draft. But again, tremendous kudos to Brock Aller and that front office for recognizing who these players are. And I think we have a lot of potential on Kolek as well. But so to have the opportunity and look, I'm just thinking about Cleveland and the matchup. So Mitchell's going to go against either OG or Mikal Bridges every night. Okay, good luck with that in a playoff series. We have so many pieces to put together and play that I love the way this team's constructed. So I love the Mikal Bridges. I was actually hoping he was the one person I wanted. Be honest, more than the superstars, more than you telling me, and I'll probably get here for this. If you told me you're getting Giannis, great. And it's I'm just as excited that we have Mikal Bridges.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that, because to me, he's a guy that as this season goes on, forget the microwave society for a second. I want it now. I've been comparing Knick fans to the girl from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They just want everything right now. Because yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I want it Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, and I'm like, guys, come on now. Let's be a little bit more patient. Let's be like Charlie here and get it at the end. But I think Bridges is one of those guys that the game's going to get bigger and you're going to realize his true value. And you're going to realize what he could do, the little things that he does. Everyone wants to say, okay, does he have 20 points? Does he knock it down all of his threes? But what about the rotations, like you mentioned? What about the fact he's going to guard a point guard and he could guard a forward, and he's never going to complain, right? He's never going to, give you a bad attitude. So I think that's one that your investment pays off down the road. You might not see every single night right now, but once he gets comfortable, I think this works out in a really big way for the Knicks.
Let me ask you. So forget even 20 points. If he gave you, let's go, 15 points a night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over. All right, 12 points a night, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. You happy?
Yeah.
And that's, by the way, that's your number 3 or 4 option on this team. So, like, that's what I'm saying. The expectation of him, he doesn't need to, but he probably could. Mikal Bridges really wanted to score 20, but I'm pretty sure he could.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that if you look at stats like that and those numbers, and he did that consistently, we're fine. It's such a great situation and team. It's exciting. That's what I was thinking. I was going to say 15, but I don't even think we need 15 a night from him.
Yeah, and by the way, you said not an overnight process, and he's not going to shoot 30% from 3 all year. I think people look at starts, and we've done this before, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Brunson's got off to them. We saw Randall for 6 games. He wasn't great last year. Then he became an all-star. Everybody looks at the first 10 games NBA season, and more so now because of what I consider the championship microscope that you're under. But it's unbelievable how under this current group that they have now that people can't sit back and realize the big picture of this. And I said, later in the year, you want to talk in February, that's definitely a different conversation. But the same thing goes for Bridges as it does for everyone else. And thank God, honestly, for Cat's great start, because you know that if he didn't have the start of that, everyone wanted him to. Think about Cat if he was averaging 18 points a game, that how everyone would be reacting to him right now.
Of course. But like you said, and I brought it up earlier, this is why I looked out, because I wanted to look this up to do it exactly. So I'm pretty sure the age of a prime is 27 years of age to 31 to 32. So this is what, for the next, let's go with the next 4 years of this team. Okay, forget, and this is why people, they are nuts for 10 games. All right, Cat's 29 years old. Jalen Brunson, 28 years old. Mikal, 28 years old. Josh Hart, 29. OG's 27. Okay, Miles, if he stays long term, is 24. All right, Pollock's only 23. Mitchell Robinson, 26. Everyone on this team, Precious is 25, is either about to enter their prime age or have 3 to 4 years of prime basketball in the system. So if we do this right, I don't want to dare say the D word, might have a dynasty. So this was really constructed and put together in the right way. Like, if you look at what they did, like Brock and all of them, they really are masterminds of what they do. It's not like that you have some aging veteran. Like, would you rather be us or rather be the Lakers? And again, not knocking LeBron. He's just at a certain age in his life. So would you rather have this team you have now or a team centered around 1 or 2 LeBron that maybe you win one? You know, and as much as I want the one, as much as everyone else, I like 3 or 4 a lot better.
Oh, absolutely. And to me, there's only 2 other teams in the NBA that have the situation that the Knicks have going on. It's Boston because they still have Brown and Tatum, and it's OKC because they have some real good, nice young pieces. But outside of that, the Knicks, like you said, are right in the mix. But I also wanted to ask you about being in the ice cream truck on opening night and what kind of experience that was and how that came about, obviously, from the commercial. But what was that like being outside of Garden for that one?
That was fun. And, well, the commercial was amazing. I had amazing people in my corner, and it goes back to relationship. And the casting director I knew, she called me, she's like, "You're perfect for this." The producer actually knew me for many years. It was like I said, the universe coming together for a moment. And he knew me, and he's been wanting to do something together with me, and I've been wanting to work with both of them. They presented me to the director, Ben, who never met me before, and we hit it off. And it was such an amazing set. And the best part is that as an artist, they let me create. So I was able to play around, and I threw some kind of curveballs at them, and, you know, showed up with a toothpick, started playing around with it, and started creating and adding to this guy who is, you know, like the quintessential fan. And I know, you know, in a weird way, he's doing his witty banter with them, but I think he's trying to be mean. He wants so bad for them to like him. They're like, "Hey, you want to go get ice cream with us?" And it just, you know, it doesn't happen, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's a great vibe. So, I mean, kudos really to that, the whole production, the director and everybody for really letting me have fun with it. And the guys were so much fun too, because the director told me, let's loosen them up in the beginning. So I started shooting jokes at them during the takes, and they started shooting stuff back at me. And I can't wait to see like the long cut of it all, where I'm calling Josh Hart dirty work. Like,
That's what he does, though.
Yeah. I was like, how about you, Dirty Work? And we just had a blast with it. So it was great. And then they let me know all of a sudden, they let me know, okay, I didn't know I was going to be a part of that. And then I got the call, opening night. I'm going to bring the ice cream truck down. Why don't you come and hang out? I was like, and a little kid in me was like, yo, let's go. So I got in there and I don't know what overcame me. They put me in the truck and I started screaming. I go, who wants cones and championships? Let's go. And we were handing out Wu Tang t-shirts, and it was great seeing the environment. And it was the most glorious version of the subway, and that's the beauty of New York. It was everyone, every background, every race, every culture, every area of the universe that create, my friend calls it the New York salad. This New York salad coming together and all, cheering for one thing, the Knicks basketball. And especially in today's day and age where you don't feel like that's the world. No, that can be and is the world, and it's absolutely beautiful. So the energy was unreal. And then Side Talk New York came after the game, and we did some stuff with them. And then for events, Nike just did an event, which was so much fun.
Yeah, I saw you post about that. Yeah.
They had Raekwon perform, and
Awesome.
it was one of the most beautiful moments. I'm just thinking about him, and I'm sorry to ramble. Just want to keep it on. The day the commercial came out, I had an idea was going to be big. I didn't understand the depth. Because also, I mean, on the journey, you have so many disappointments. You try to temper the expectations of what something's going to be. And it was mentioned to me it would be on the Nike homepage, but I kind of threw it in the back of my mind as opposed to thinking about it. And here it shows up on the Nike Instagram homepage, and my phone's going, and I see a repost. And my eyes started to well because I go, Raekwon just reposted the commercial. And I go, here's somebody that as my youth, I mean, to admire someone for their artistry, if you think of him as an artist, his honesty as an artist, his just the amazing body work, everything. It was such a great experience for me. So I have a friend who's good friends with him. So I said, you need to do me a favor. And I wrote this long thing that I wanted him to send to Raekwon from me, thanking him for giving me that moment. And it was beautiful because Raekwon wrote him to send something back to me. Thank you for being a fan for my whole life. And so there was so many just great I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. There was so many great
Powerful
on this journey. And, to tie it to what we're talking about, nothing is overnight. The strangest texts or DMs I get, I go, how'd this happen for you? Huh? How'd it happen? It's 20 years of not being like, hey, guys, I'm here, and doing movie after movie after movie and getting good, or actually, or getting to a place that you understand your craft, and and it's fine. And to tie it to the team, things just take time. Everybody, we live in this world where everybody wants this instant gratification, and it's not realistic. I promise you. Anyone you see that you think all of a sudden it has it all and it's not from out of nowhere.
And you know what? That was awesome to listen to, by the way. You almost gave me goosebumps there, but because as somebody that was on the grind and really trying hard, something I've wanted to do my whole life. And, obviously sometimes things get in the way, but I just wanted to thank you again for your message and your motivation, right? You talk about your story, and, it inspires people to put out their best work as well. You do. And it's just, and you just connecting and not thinking, I just from now knowing you for just a short amount of time and talking to you, you're the type of guy to me that treats the CEO and the janitor the same way.
Absolutely.
And that's the type of vibe that, I get down with, and that I've always respected about people. Mike Breen, the guy that does play-by-play for the Knicks, you would never know, ever, that he has been as successful that he has been because of the way he carries himself. So I appreciate you obviously taking your time and having the perspective that you have. It does. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to a lot of people, but
it's kudos to you, by the way. It's you're great. You're the one who reached out to me, and then I got so busy. I was traveling. I was in Vegas. I have to go back to Vegas because I'm also a DJ and I have a residency at the Wynn, and I play in New York. And so I'm burning the candle at every end. So I forgot. And when I agreed to it with you, I forgot to get back to you again. You reached out again and again, and I was so thrilled you did. So give yourself the credit, because most people they go, okay, I guess he said no, or he said, but if you want something and you go at it, and the thing is to go at it in an an honest and sincere way, you will always get a good response. And if you don't, it's okay. You move on to the next one and the next one and the next one.
Absolutely.
That's life.
Well, I've had a lot of people, you send out a bunch and you think that the people that would be a good conversation that people would want to hear from. And obviously you are, very relevant in the New York Knicks world. But not only that, because I looked at your page and saw, again, what kind of personality you were. But for me, I'm messaged 100 players and two could respond. Obviously Childs I've developed a little bit of relationship with. And I told him, listen, I appreciate this because you're trusting me. I'm not, Bill Simmons. I'm not, these are people I aspire to have the same accomplishments as. But when people take a shot on you, it does pump me up. It does rile me up. It keeps me up at night watching extra stuff and doing the extra work, because all it takes is one or two people to say yes to you. And then more people are likely to kind of gravitate towards that because they see you putting out quality work. But that doesn't happen without guys like you, Childs, Freddie Coleman from ESPN, people that have taken the time with me and have watched this kind of grow from the ground up. It's been a really satisfying journey for sure.
And you're building your body of work, just like everyone else, And would you really enjoy it if tomorrow someone just said, "Here's your ESPN contract. There you go." Would you really be ready? Probably not. It takes the time to develop your style and who you are, and create the character that you're learning sincerely who you are to the world. And that's all it comes down to. And as you build that, you become unstoppable, because no one will replicate that version of you better than you. And I can name a million people in the world that you've seen this level of success. Like I always say, Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson in every Jack Nicholson movie, but he is the best darn Jack Nicholson in the world. And it's so amazing. He's so confident in who he is and that character that's what gravitates to people. Christopher Walken is the same way. I mean, and there's a list of people like this and personalities, Stephen A. Smith, God bless him, like him or not, he's the best Stephen A. Smith that you'll ever meet, and so forth like that. So, and that just takes the time and the hard work of learning that yourself on the journey through the good interviews, the ones where you probably sat down at the end and were like, why'd I say that or do that? It's okay. I learned a long time ago, nothing is fireable. If you're as long as you're coming from a good place, you're usually safe, and you keep moving on to the next one. That's all.
Appreciate you, man. Listen, I know you, just from texting with you and talking to you, and you said it on the show already today. You got a million things going on, which is, to me, awesome, right? That's the way it should be, right? The idle mind is the devil's playground, as people talk about that line all the time. But so you're going all over the place. Have you really sat down to take that deep breath and say, "Oh my God, I was on this commercial with the Knicks and I did this and I accomplished"? Has that really hit you yet, or is it kind of taking some time here to realize that one?
The honest answer, I want to answer as honestly as possible, is I don't know if I want to. Because for me too, I'm not where I want to be yet. So I don't want to be too complacent in the accomplishments as opposed to proud of the work, if that sort of makes sense. Like it's fundamentally flattering and amazing that I was part of this. Now what? And a good friend of mine, he actually told me a story when he had a film that went to Sundance. He was talking about how many Sundance, and he said his learning lesson, his journey was this very, very famous actor. That's great. Now what? And he said, I stopped and I thought, wait, I don't know. So I try to constantly ask myself, now what? So I'm not saying I didn't have my moment. The day of, I walked around New York City by myself, watched my phone go. It was crazy. I mean, the commercial, I think Nike alone is at like 6 million right now. It's nuts. And I mean, it's very flattering when someone goes, "Aren't you the guy?" Like it really, it makes me proud to know, not for my ego, it just makes me proud to know I put out some memorable work as an artist that people liked in an authentic way about something I really love. So that's what gets me excited, But so I spent my day walking around New York and taking that in. Then I go, I did something and accomplished something now that I'm proud of. But like I said, now what? And So a lot of other things have been growing in my life. From creative director of a nightclub called Hearsay in New York City. I host a Monday party. I get to DJ with a legend named Hex Hector, who won a Grammy and has done remixes for every artist from Whitney Houston to Jennifer Lopez in the house music community. I became a resident DJ at the Wynn, so I'm flying back and forth to Vegas a lot now and just DJing in Vegas, which is fun. And just continuing to try and work on things, that induce a passion and joy in me, because I don't know how to fake it any other way. I'm really not good at a 9 to 5. I've tried it in a corporate environment kind of structure. So I actually look at people who do that for a living and I go, I admire them because they have a very different skill set than me, and I'm just not good. So that's it for now. It's now what. So just figuring out what the next step is, and I don't know. Hopefully, have a lot of fun on the way.
And a lot of Knicks wins on the way.
Yes, that's it.
Well, no, I love the answer. I really do. Because again, I watched the interview and I remember you saying, everyone around you was going nuts, which I'm sure internally, and you had moments to yourself where you got emotional or showed it or whatever it was, but you do have that calm presence, right? About yourself, right? Where you could say, this is great. But I talk about the Clyde a lot. The Clydeism I use. Not too high, not too low, right? This is great. I want to celebrate this, but that's what I think this Knicks team has too. Not to always bring it back to them, but
Well, of course, yeah.
there's an ability to, okay, there's going to be a lot of noise out there, negative, positive. We got to shut all that out and continue to produce.
Absolutely. I mean, really, the way I can't stress it, the way I watch Brunson handle all this is so inspiring. It's even me at my age, I don't know if I could handle it like that. Like, look at it, having so much on you and so many people with their comments and ideas about what you're doing, and you obviously putting everything you have into that. Like, it must be maddening. But this kid is unbelievable. And who would have thought? I really, if you would have asked me, I would have never thought he was going to be this good. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this good.
Yeah, and I said that too. I think everyone thought maybe in the best case scenario, he could be an all-star player. That was him. Not to put a ceiling on a guy that only been in the league a few years, but that I thought was best case scenario. To watch him blossom into this, he's carried himself in a Jeterian way, as some Yankee fans have said. I'm a Met fan, so I don't necessarily go by that, but I understand the way to win in New York, right? It does take a certain person, and he seems to fit that description as well as anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's amazing. And really, it's a special brand. Could you imagine? Even I'm just thinking about the pressure of, not only, if you think about a fundamental level, not only the media, the fan, your dad's your coach. There's so many layers to all of it. And I'd be like, that really, it's like, there's so much to it, and this kid handles it, I mean, with such grace. We have a lot to be proud of. We really do. We're lucky.
No, there's absolutely no question, man. And listen, I appreciate you. Again, I had a really good time talking to you. I can't wait to continue to follow what you've been doing and our Knicks. And I know the fans that not only your experiences with the commercial, but your life advice and attitude will really appreciate this interview as well. And also, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I think I talked to you before at the show we went on. Belmore JFK, Cougars in the best.
Both went to the same high school.
So there was the connection there, and shout out to Dave as well, who mentioned that to me when I showed him the ad. He said, "Oh, that's Stevie Guttman, great guy. He's doing his thing." So shout out to him, and for you, continue to, yeah, and he'll watch this. He's supported me in a big way. So again, thank you to him. Yeah, and to you also. So more Knicks wins. This guy's 11 in. Stevie says calm down. I'll say calm down, but you're the best, man. I appreciate you so much. Enjoy, Edward.
I do. We'll do it again soon.